Welcome to the channel, folks. My name's Shane. Today we're checking out the Xvive U3 wireless XLR pack. Let's do it. Welcome to the channel, folks. My name's Shane. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and also click that little notification bell. Now, I've had a chance to use this pack over the last couple of months, and I've used it in a number of different situations. Today we're just going to test it for some voice audio into the GH5, and there's only one way I can use this with the GH5, and this is with the Panasonic XLR adapter for the GH5, the DMW XLR1. I read that off my reference monitor, I'm not that smart. So yeah, it's a hard thing to remember the name, but this is how we get it into the camera. I'll show you some B-roll of how you actually set this up as we get into it, but let's check out and see what we get in the box. Like I said, I've been using this for a while, so you're basically not going to see it as a fresh unboxing here, but I'll give you a quick 20-second go of what we get. We get the warranty card here, which just fell out before. We get some instructions, we get another card, and we get the pack, which is awesome. We get a transmitter and receiver, and it's being awfully difficult to get out. There we go. So both of those. Under this, we get the USB cables and all that kind of stuff in the box. Now, one of the cool things about this USB cable is the fact that it has 1 to 2. So it's like a double adapter cable. You get 2 actual charging sides and one that plugs into the computer or phone charger or whatever. So you can charge them both at the same time. I'm glad they included this. More companies should do that. I think that's great. Instead of 2 individual USB cables, a single to a double, awesome. One of the really cool things about this particular system is it runs on digital. So it's 2.4 gigahertz and it's essentially lossless, which is what I really like about it. Now, 2.4 gigahertz works in a number of different countries. On the back of the box, it says it works in places like Europe, Asia, South America, North America, and Australia. So lots and lots of places. Works on the same frequencies that home routers and all that kind of stuff works on as well. So it's nice and fast. Like I said, I don't notice any lag or anything when I hook these up. So we get one transmitter, which is this one with the little end on it. And then we also get one receiver, and this will go into the actual XLR pack for the GH5. So I'll set that up and I'll show you how to get it going. The audio that you're hearing right now is via the Xvive U3 using this Rode Reporter microphone. So this mic right here, my shirt mic, is being turned off. As you can see, it's not connected to the camera, so we're going into the XLR adapter for the GH5 just straight in. And this microphone isn't too bad for most situations. It is a reporter microphone, so it's good for interviews, all that kind of stuff. But this is the type of sound quality that you can expect. I'm just holding it normally. And the cool thing about this mic too is it doesn't really matter if you have it a little bit away from you. It should still pick up your voice like this. I always like the microphone facing the mouth. I think it sounds better that way. Now, one of the downsides or limitations of this particular pack is the fact that it doesn't support phantom power. What this means is it won't actually power a condenser microphone. So for those who don't know, dynamic mics you can just plug straight in like this, or a 57 or a 58 or a Beta 58. Any of those kind of microphones will work fine with this system. But to run a condenser microphone, you need one that also gives you the option of an internal battery. I'm going to show you how they sound right now as well. All right, over to the Rode M3 microphone. Now, I've used this particular system, this microphone, this wireless pack, this GH5 for a video I did on my In the Blues channel where I interviewed some of my bandmates on a video we did where we were doing like a live gig sort of thing. And this particular system works really, really well. You can get away with almost any microphone. But one of the great things about this condenser mic is odds are it should sound a little bit better than the Rode Reporter microphone. But being that it's also got a 9-volt internal battery, it gives you the flexibility of that condenser mic type of sound, just straight into the camera without any leads. I think that's really, really great. Now, if you've ever shot videos outside of your house, you know that cables are awful. I think cables are almost awful inside of the house. One of the great things as well about this pack is you can use it to record electric guitar or vocals or anything like that. Now, one of my friends, Dr. Rick, uses this particular pack when he sings live at his acoustic gigs, and you get up to 5 hours battery life, which is great. Supposedly get up to about 30 meters, which is 90 feet of distance as well, which is great also. I haven't had any issues recording electric guitar here at the house, and if you're interested in that sort of stuff as well, I'll post a link up in the cards and you can check that video I made out. I won't be doing any guitar tests on this particular channel. Over to this Rode NT3, and I thought I would cover some of the extra specs that I didn't go over before. So we get up to 5 hours of battery life, and it takes less than 1 hour to charge, which is great. So if you're a musician or you're doing interviews, that's plenty. 5 hours is a lot, even if you forget to turn them off for an hour. You're still going to have plenty of time. So the only small downside of that is it doesn't really give you any LED indication of how much battery life is left. That's one of the downsides of it. But if you charge it before you use it, you're not going to have them go flat. No doubt about it. So that's pretty cool. Now, the frequency response is 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz, which is the human ear hearing range. So anything you put in front of it, as long as the microphone's competent, that's what you're going to hear. You probably heard the car just zooming past. I'm not too sure. We'll see how we go in editing. All right. One of the other great things about this pack is it also has a dynamic range of 110 dB. That's a lot. 110 decibels. You wouldn't get near that if you were screaming. Some people might, but I wouldn't. It's like a guitar amplifier cranked, like a good loud amp cranked. So you can put it in front of, instruments or whatever, and it makes, all of that kind of thing really easy. Now, if you are louder than 110 decibels, it's probably good to have a microphone that also has some sort of pad switching where you can drop it 10 dB in terms of its gain. Some of these microphones like this have an inbuilt switch. I can drop the input 10 or 20 decibels. So it's definitely not going to clip no matter what I put it in front of in that scenario. But if you're a singer or you're doing something like this, it's going to be fine. You'd have to really put it in front of something loud like a car horn to get anywhere near 110 decibels. The working range on this particular pack is 30 meters or 90 feet. So you get quite a long way to use this from the actual receiver, which is great. And that's in ideal situations as well. If you're using it between walls, you're not going to get as far, but line of sight in good conditions, you'll get up to 90 feet. You may actually get a little bit more than that. I found with a lot of these wireless packs, that's the conservative sort of estimate. You can usually get a little bit further. I've got a guitar pack that works on the same frequency range. It says exactly the same specs, but I can use it way further than that in ideal conditions. So just keep that in mind as well. That's probably the safe limit for most sort of circumstances, depending on where you're actually filming. One last feature to mention as well is the fact that there's 6 different channels you can choose from. It says it simultaneously broadcasts to 6 at a time. So I also think you could probably grab a second receiver and have one transmitter going to 2 receivers. That might be handy for some people, might not be handy for others, but that's just one of those cool things that it may actually work, being that it transmits to 6 channels simultaneously, but it automatically found channel 1 when I turned it on, so that's what I use. You can also click through and change the channel that way as well. There's a little button on the front. I'll show you some B-roll of that. On the transmitter, you can also select line and microphone, just depending on what you're using it for. If you're going out of something that requires a line level signal, you can click it down to line. But for most people using it in this sort of situation, talking with a camera, you definitely want it set to microphone. Thanks again for watching, everybody. My name's Shane. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and also click the bell. I have weekly content coming up all year. So what do I think of this particular pack? Overall, it's great. I love the fact it can handle up to 110 dB of volume, which is awesome. The range is good. It sounds good. The sound quality is fine, and that's one of the most important things as well. I think digital does it right when it comes to this kind of stuff over UHF. That's just my opinion. Everyone likes different things, but for me, digital is the way to go. Now, in terms of what I don't like about it, I don't like the fact that you can't really tell how much battery life is left. I think that could be improved on a future version of this particular thing. The other thing I would love to see too is if they could obviously power a condenser microphone. Not everyone will want to use a condenser microphone. Not everybody likes a condenser microphone. And I know that now because after doing a few other videos about podcast setups, I know there's a lot of love for dynamic mics. And I don't mind dynamic microphones as well, but I much prefer condenser microphones. I think they sound better. But in some situations, obviously they're not ideal. But for the right situation, they're a great mic. So I would love to have that option of being able to sort of self-power a condenser microphone from one of these units at the expense of maybe even up to an hour or 2 hours of battery life. 3 hours of battery life for me would be plenty. 5 is awesome. So overall, these are great. If you want to find out more about these, I'll post all links on screen and in the description below, and you can check them out. Now, coming up on the channel as well, we've got another one. I haven't opened this up yet, so we might do that on the video when it comes time to shooting it. We'll see how we go with that, but overall, this has been a hugely positive experience with this. I would buy another pack, hands down, if this particular pack went missing. No doubt about it. I think they work well. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and click that little notification bell. My name's Shane. I'll catch you soon. See ya.